Hello, this is Michael Fritz, student at Liberty University. Today I'm going to be talking about return on investment in instructional design and what exactly that means, and instructional design theories, and what it is we're generally looking for to understand and evaluate instructional designs. Contents of this is instructional design evaluation through quality and control checks and return on investment understandings. Then we're going to go deeper into what are we looking at in evaluation itself through formative and summative evaluations. Then evaluation models, the types of evaluation models there are, and then specifically dissecting Kirkpatrick's training evaluation model and why most people utilize that, and then finally why all this really matters and how do we determine if through logic determination our evaluations are working. So evaluation in and of itself is a quality control check. Essentially what we are doing is we're trying to implement measures in any evaluation to not only improve the process but also improve the people, or in a business model, repeating business, getting loyal customers referring people. And then all of this is essentially how we can understand if something that we are doing and using an instructional design process, an evaluation model, is returning our investment. So if we're implementing a design model and we're not getting people coming back, better business, better people, better students, better instructions, then that might be an issue you'd want to look at to say, okay, maybe my instructional design process is not what it should be. Next, the types of evaluations. Typically what I've seen as an instructor as well as what I've read are formative and summative evaluations. So these types of evaluations help you determine whether or not a student is learning. You can see it through their homework assignments, quizzes, in-class discussions is something that I always took a lot of emphasis in. Non-formal testing through students' grades. They can also see if you can see if your student is learning. And then the summative evaluations are those final exams, grades. Obviously, you can see if the student has learned anything through this or if they're just very good test takers. And also through end-of-course surveys, which that's going to kind of come into a later training model. But end-of-course surveys, specifically and anonymously asking students questions about what they learned, how they learned, and what you could do better as an instructor or as a curriculum as a whole. What do they want to learn more of? So these are our evaluation type models. Stuffelbaum's CIPP, which essentially is a context evaluation assessment that essentially is asking and determining needs assessment as well as planning decisions, and it all evolves around input evaluation. Next in the Rossi's 5 domains is the understanding of So again, Rossi's 5 domain emphasizes the 5 primary evaluation domains that he calls needs assessment, also program conceptualization, implementing assessments, and the understanding of the social science behind it all. And the theory-driven, Chen's theory-driven, it's an approach where evaluators and stakeholders determine how and why an intervention program works, what is or is not important. And then finally, Kirkpatrick's model, which is more for training evaluation, but through the 4 levels of evaluation, you can then determine how each and every step might affect all 4 levels. So we're going to go a little bit more into Kirkpatrick's training model due to its vast implementation, not only for training, but also educational purposes. So through Kirkpatrick's training model, it has these 4 levels, as you can see. Level 1, reaction. You want to get data collection through anonymous surveys and questionnaires. It's kind of like that quality control check that we talked about before. Level 2, learning. You want to be able to determine how your students are learning, if their attitudes are changing, and if they're gaining any knowledge. Level 3, behavior. It's a transfer of training. Essentially, as they're doing their job, can you see their behaviors change? Are they doing their jobs any better? And finally, level 4, the results. Results is obviously the most important part, because then you can see that you're getting better performance out of your students or out of your workers. Like you get increased scores and tests, or students are just happier. And then obviously having metric-based information will help you understand if you're getting the results out of this instructional design process that you're using. And finally, using logical determination to determine if the evaluation model you're using is worth it. So kind of takes off at that last part, creating or merit of worth, which is essentially understanding if the instructional design model itself is working through metrics and things like that. Second, setting specific performance standards. You could just say, I want my students overall to get 5 percentage points higher by implementing this new instructional design. And as long as you keep seeing that increase, then obviously the instructional design process is working, and then taking that data is third, and then fourth, making an overall evaluation of whether or not your process is working, your instructional design, that is. And finally, is there a list of my references? Yeah, utilizing some of the pictures from sources, and then also some of the instructional design information. Some interesting facts about instructional design is that you want to implement it as far as the teachers can do it, and what you get from your teachers, and being able to stimulate your students' understanding of things is really how you know whether or not they're performing. And yeah, thank you for your time, and have a great day.